if you are a young associate or a young veterinarian, the first thing you need to do is have an understanding of what you want out of life and what's going to be important to you. And so that's going to involve things like, do I want to get married? Do I want to have kids? What part of the country do I want to live in? Do I want to retire by the time I'm 60? Do I want to work until I'm 80? What kind of a house do I want to live in? And unfortunately, almost every goal in life costs money. Even the ones you don't think cost money, like spending more time at home rather than at work, that costs money because you don't pay out money for it, but you bring home less money. So you have to have a pretty good idea of what your goals are, because then that's going to drive your financial choices. And if your goals are pretty modest, then you have more flexibility in work. You can work in practices that don't pay as much. You can work in parts of the country that don't pay as much. You can take time off and go do missionary work or volunteer work. But if you have goals that cost a lot of money, then you're going to have to pick more carefully what your work choices are going to be. So you're going to have to look for practices that not only practice good medicine, but that understand how to run a business so that there can be a high level of earnings both for the owner of the practice, but for people who work in it. Or you're going to have to pick practices where you can ultimately have a piece of the pie. You can own a part of that practice, or you can go out and buy another practice. You may want to say, I'm going to spend one night a week working at an emergency clinic. Not only does it help my medical skills, but I can take that money and pay back some of my student debt. And those are all relatively small things individually, but they add up to a very significant impact over your life and your life's earnings.